morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's really delighted to be here. As you can see, the presentation is about Emirates at Cloud. I'm sure you saw a lot of clouds in the video as well. So there's the linkage to the clouds. But what I want to talk about is that this is a journey. This is a journey of evolution. And I would like to share a few stories through my presentation. This is Dubai, and this is not too long ago. This is the 1950s. This is the Dubai Creek, which you would see when you look at Dubai. This is the symbolic creek, which you would see in all the brands of Dubai. Moving on to the 1990s. For people who have been long enough in Oracle, you would know that this has been taken from the World Trade Center, which was where the first Oracle offices were, on the 19th and 20th floor. Me, as a young software engineer, learned the basics of Oracle programming in those offices here. And that's basically the Sheikh Zayed Road, which you see in the 1990s. Now this is in my lifetime, 20 years. This is basically what actually the city has done. And the reason I narrate this story is because this is where the dreams and aspirations of a city which is run by leaders who are really, I think, very foresighted and actually have the intent and will to improve things for the people of the city, comes together. So this is basically what it is. And the next one is Dubai in 2010. I don't know if you know the stats, but this New Year's, there were 1.75 million people in the Business Bay enjoying the fireworks at the Burj Khalifa, compared to 1 million people in New York enjoying the Times Square. No competition, but it's really amazing to see how this city is propagating itself into becoming a destination. Yeah? And a picture which I really love, and I think it's something which you would look at as well, is this is our venue today. This is the Medina Jumeirah. Roll back to the 1950s, where you would just see sand and a beach and the sea there. This is what we've been able to kind of produce for this city. And the reason this story is important is because of this. The future of Dubai is the future of Emirates. The leaders of the city, the leaders of Emirates Group recognize that we cannot be where we are without the support of the city. This is going hand in hand there. And that's really important. It's a very powerful message in terms of how do you make that happen. Currently, you heard Stephen Morris talk about 185 aircrafts. That was just 3 months ago. We've actually got 11 aircrafts in the last 3 months. There are another 24 aircrafts coming next year. That typically is the size of any national carrier if you look around the aviation world. But that's what Emirates experiences as growth year on year. This year alone, 36 aircrafts came into service. There are 3 months to go. But we've, I think, got around 28 of these aircrafts already. Another 8 aircrafts coming the next 3 months. And the next year, 24 aircrafts. Each of these big birds costs you around $300 to $350 million. So you can imagine this sizable investment actually going into preserving this fleet and making sure that this is one of the youngest fleets in the market, so that everybody is assured of safety and comfort when they're flying Emirates. That's the orders of the aircrafts on order, 204 aircrafts which we see actually on order going forward, and again a sizable investment coming there. So the storyline again is, here's a giant. In 1986, we established the airline with 3 aircrafts and a couple of destinations. To 2012, 128 destinations across 74 countries here. 40,000 plus employees around the world. The third largest airline right now on the applicable scheduled kilometers which we can actually measure ourselves against. And hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, we are looking at matching up with United Airlines Continental in terms of the size of the aviation. And this is all happening in Dubai. And that's really important for us to see. While this is happening with the Emirates Airlines, there is also the other area, which is Danata, which is really not much talked about here. Danata essentially is the ground handling services provider for the region, and its aspirations are as big, if not bigger, than the Emirates airline. Currently 39 countries, 5 continents, 20,000 plus people, and the significant change which you would see which has happened is majority of the revenues which used to come from Dubai for Danata has got flipped. Now, majority of the revenues for Danata are coming from the overseas acquisitions which we have made. So, for example, Danata UK is the one which is actually now the revenue provider for Danata and actually grosses more money than actually Danata Dubai. And that's significant because that's where the next piece of the story is going to come together. And that's just one of the slides about the revenues and the jump in the revenues from Danata. And one of the stories which I'm going to actually pull together is how does technology cope with these two giants here. Emirates Airlines growing at a rapid pace, wanting to become the best and the biggest in the world, and Donata, through acquisitions, wanting to grow outside of Dubai and trying to actually create its own place in the global aviation service provisioning space here. So these are the two kind of stories, and this is just a snapshot of all the other departments we also focus on as an organization. How does technology cope with this? And that's basically why we thought it's relevant to build the first story, talk about the history of Dubai, the two giants, and the giants' aspirations coming together, and how does technology come into play. So the first example is about the B2C environment, where we're talking about how do we actually interact with the customers. I'll just quickly go across the Mercator piece for you guys, because this is also one of the complexities we actually put together. So this is the piece I want to talk about it. This is the business to customer piece, where we are actually reaching out to all our customers through our online booking engine. There's something which is very familiar with the people around the world. 2.5 million visitors every day, generating 14% of our revenues coming from the online channel. Going forward, the aspiration that we kind of move it to double. So we are looking at around 20% of our revenues coming from the online channel itself. Now this is a good example of how the business to customer space actually has been taken onto the cloud. This is what you would experience as normal customers coming and using technology, touching technology to kind of conduct business in. The next one is about the business to business side of things, where you would see something called Kalogi, Kalogi.com, which is the cargo logistics provider, which has created a B2B environment for all the logistics providers to work with each other, literally creating a geographical distribution system or a global distribution system for the freight forwarders to kind of network with each other and create an ecosystem. Again, this is completely powered by Oracle, so the whole application is developed in Java, and the database itself is Oracle. So again, a prime example of how businesses are actually talking to each other on this space. This is the conclusion slide from a technology perspective. Just the evolution. The 1990s, we saw the private cloud. So on-premise essentially was called private to begin with. We had a healthy set of applications even in the 90s with the private cloud itself. We have a tier 4 data center, which we actually run within Dubai. And we also had a very healthy, what people would have called at that point in time, a private public cloud to just support our global operations here. Moving to the 2000s, where we started to look at the hybrid environment, we started to look at the infrastructure side of things to kind of put it onto the cloud. So you would have seen the email side of things going on into the cloud. We looked at virtualization coming out as as a mature technology there. We started to look at software as a service coming through there itself. And then moving to the 2010s, which is why I referred to Mark Hurt's slides, where the whole mobility and the social media has come together and really blurred the lines between business to business, business to customer, and in a lot of ways the business to employee space. And that's where we see it going forward, where you are looking at the Gen X's, the Gen Y's, and what I call the Gen I's here. Because the iPhones, the iPods, the iPads, the bring your own device to the offices are really changing the landscape for what's going to happen with the cloud here. Going forward from an Emirates Group technology perspective, we definitely see a lot of insistence on the hybrid cloud itself, and that merging very clearly with the community cloud, and very soon what we kind of have a hypothesis, which is basically a private community cloud. And I think that's basically it would be the way forward going from a services perspective.